Welcome everybody. Today the topic is enjoy the journey. And we're each on a journey through life, on our own special assignment to be the best we can possibly be and to help others find their stride. It starts with our birth and ends with our last breath. And what should lie between are the moments that take our breath away. What lies between that first breath and that last is our journey. Quote, "It's always our own self that we find at the end of the journey. The sooner we face that self, the better." Ella Malahart. We always find ourselves at the end of our journey, and that's what we want. And the other day, a beautiful young lady was at our home teaching us how she finds amazing deals on travel. And I enjoyed watching her smile as she looked at the pictures on travel sites of destinations and places she's already been, and telling us who she'd been with and recounting her adventures in semi-vivid detail. Can't say everything. But when she really burst into her radiant grin was when she began to glow, was when she started talking about some Greek islands that she wanted to go to. And she placed her hand on her chest. I mean, she was all aglow thinking about this. And her love of travel was contagious. And she was enjoying her journey, relishing the ride, anticipating what was in store, but taking it one step at a time. She was enjoying her journey. Quote, "We travel not to escape life, but for life not to escape us." James 1, verse 2 to 4 from The Voice says, "Don't run from tests and hardships, brothers and sisters, as difficult as they are. You will immediately find joy in them if you embrace them. Your faith will blossom under the pressure and teach you true patience as you endure. And true patience brought on by endurance will equip you to complete the long journey and cross the finish line, mature, complete, wanting nothing." See, our lives may not be easy at times, but they're surely going to be fulfilled if we keep living, keep moving, keep loving. And the big key is to patiently and faithfully enjoy our journey every step of the way. Life's a journey. And we move from birth to childhood to adulthood to our final breath. And if you remember, you had children, it takes an infant a period of time to become skillful enough to even touch their own nose when they want to. Or their toes, whatever. And they're over a year old, some even up to 2 years old, before they can point out 10 body parts perfectly that you mentioned to them to touch. So a child masters simple tasks at their own pace and moves on to the next challenge. And it takes the patience of a lifetime to become skillful enough to be you. To be you. It takes a lifetime. And you're as unique as you are amazing. Quote, "Patience, child, patience. Remember, life is a journey. If you received everything you wanted all at once, there would be no point in living. Enjoy the ride, and in the end, you'll see these setbacks as giant leaps forward. Only you cannot see the bigger picture in the moment. Remain calm. All is within reach. All you have to do is show up every day. Stay true to your path, and you will surely find the treasure you seek. Patience, child. Patience." That's from Jackson Kiddard. See, be patient with yourself and always stay in the game. Somebody said 80% of success in life is just showing up. Actually, that was Woody Allen. 80% of success in life is just showing up. And what he means is 80% of success is just in the fact that we show up, we keep learning, we keep contributing, we're present until we reach that destined goal. You never stop until you get what you want. Whatever it is, whatever your journey. In whatever stage of life you find yourself, keep showing up day after day. Keep heading down that path towards your dreams and enjoy the journey. Now we're going to talk about childhood. This is where it all starts. It all starts in childhood. As a child, we see others doing something and we want to imitate it. We want to do it. We work and we work and we work to take that first step. We're crawling, and then finally we grab onto something and we pull ourselves up, or we hold onto our parents' fingers and we walk a couple of steps, but it's still not us doing it. They're helping us. And then at some point we shuffle our pudgy little feet around the perimeter of that coffee table, and we feel like we're walking, but we still haven't mastered it. And eventually we take the chance and we let go, just like the big people. And we take our first step on our own. And with great applause from our mom and dad, we quickly fall down, struggle back up, and do it all over again. But eventually there's no more applause. You know, we've mastered the art of walking. No one's looking at you adults when you get up and you're going, oh yeah, that's so good. It's so cute that you can walk. You've mastered it. It's not cute anymore. You're good at it. And that's how we want to get in life. But it all starts with crawling. It all starts with taking that first step on our own. You know, we mastered the art of walking as a child, and we never again will settle to a life of crawling. And then we look forward to our next challenge, which would be running or getting into more things. See, it's sad to see adults who fail and stay down. And you think it doesn't happen, but it happens all the time. You know, it would be like a toddler taking a few steps on their own, falling down and saying to himself or herself, walking is hard, falling hurts. I'm okay with just crawling. I'm good down here. It's good. I can get around pretty darn good crawling. Let's just call it a day. Then you never walk again. That would be weird, right? But adults do it all the time. They fail. Finally, they just give up. I'm not going to try to quit. You fill in the blank. A child, an infant hasn't yet developed the I can't do attitude. I can't do. They haven't developed the I can't do attitude yet. Quote, pain is nothing compared to what it feels like to quit. Unknown. 1 Corinthians 13, 11, and 12 from the Voice. When I was a child, I spoke, thought, and reasoned in childlike ways as we all do. But when I became a man, I left my childish ways behind. For now, we can only see a dim and blurry picture of things as we stare into polished metal. I realize that everything I know is only part of the big picture. An adult's supposed to continuing master in their life like they did as a child, and they continue working to master themselves until they take that final breath. That's a human's design. You never stop mastery of yourself. It's never good enough. We're always getting better. There's no neutral really in adulthood. Either you're going up or you're going down. You're doing it with your finances, you're doing it through relationships, you're doing it with anything. You're in your health, in your exercise. You're either getting better or you're getting weaker. See, adults supposed to continue in mastering their life just like a child did. That's how God designed the human. We're designed to never quit, never give up, to keep moving. See, there's no quit in childhood. There's no quit in you. Quote, people of mediocrity, of mediocre ability, sometimes achieve outstanding success because they don't know when to quit. Most men succeed because they're determined to. George Allen. We succeed because we're determined to succeed. We don't know when to quit. And it's a good quality. Quote, age wrinkles the body. Quitting wrinkles the soul. Douglas MacArthur. Age wrinkles the body. Quitting wrinkles the soul. The analogy of that mirror in verse 12 is as beautiful as it is useful. See, nobody on earth knew what they looked like until about the 13th century. There was no such thing as mirrors. The best they had were highly polished small pieces of metal, bronze or brass, and it's still not a clear image. You could look into a water hole and you could get a pretty good idea, but you didn't know. Jesus Christ had no clue what he looked like. Isn't that crazy? Moses didn't. Nobody knew until the 13th century what they really looked like. People could describe you to yourself, but that's how life is. You're never going to see the whole picture. We always want to have everything planned out before we get there. Sometimes you just got to start moving toward that goal, and then doors begin to open for you. They usually don't until you get moving. See, God's going to usually show us bit by bit, experience by experience, the big picture of our life. You ever read a book and you got a lot out of it, and a few years later you read that book again and you go, oh my gosh, this is a whole different book. It's because you're at a whole different place a few years from then. That's why you can read the same book over and over and get something totally different out of it. I've seen movies like that. I thought I got a lot out of it. Then I moved to another part of the country, and it's like, oh, I get it now. You see places you recognize. It's a lot of fun. See, we want the big picture of our life, but usually we're just going to get little snapshots. You know, we have people in here who are very good photographers. And I look at, they come back and they show me pictures of their trips, and I'm like, you know, I want to be there. I feel like I'm there, but I'm not. It's just a two-dimensional image, but I sort of feel like I'm there. I feel like I understand, but we don't. So be patient with yourself. You know, like a child, get back up on your 2 feet and keep getting up. Keep getting up. Keep getting up. Everybody fails. Everybody falls. That child doesn't sit there and just scurry around on its knees the rest of its life. That would be ridiculous. It's just as ridiculous for us to fail and not get back up. So what if your feelings are hurt? Everybody gets their feelings hurt. So what if you're embarrassed? If we care so much about what other people think, I just read something and heard something the other day about a funeral, that typically 10 people will cry at your funeral. Out of all the people that you care about and all the people that you worry about what they think of you, at your funeral, probably less than 10 people. And if it's raining, there may not be anybody show up. Just a couple of people will be there. You see? So the weather has something to do with it. I mean, it's crazy. We determine our life so much on what other people think. We got to stop it. You know, what do you think of you? That's what should count. What does God think of you? That's what should count. Society, you're never going to fit totally with. Religion, forget about it. Show up every day and work towards your goal, your dream, your calling, and by all means, enjoy your journey. Enjoy your journey. Now, adulthood. You know, to know ourselves well enough to constantly change our life takes a lifetime of work. As Josephine's family used to say, you're a piece of work. So I guess I'm a piece of work, you know. I mean, we're all a piece of work. We're all a work in progress. Know yourself well enough to constantly change. It's going to take your whole life. And it's a journey that people, they tell us we're supposed to, people tell us we're supposed to enjoy the journey, right? And I think they're right. Quote, success is a journey, not a destination. The doing is often more important than the outcome. Arthur Ashe. Because how many people, they get somewhere and then they're unfulfilled. Then they got to have a different goal. It's just the way God designed humans to be. Never settle. Never stay down. You get up. And from the book titled Mastery by George Leonard, he states, quote, it resists definition, yet can be instantly recognized. It comes in many variations, yet follows certain unchanging laws. It brings rich rewards, yet it's not really a goal or a destination, but rather a process, a journey. We call this journey mastery, and we tend to assume that it requires a special ticket available only to those born with exceptional abilities. But mastery is not reserved for the super talented or even for those who are fortunate enough to have gotten an early start. It's available to anyone who's willing to get on the path and stay on it regardless of age, sex, or experience. It continues. The trouble is that we have few, if any, maps to guide us on the journey or even show us how to find the path. The modern world, in fact, can be viewed as a prodigious conspiracy against mastery. We're continually bombarded with promise of immediate gratification, instant success, and fast temporary relief, all of which lead in exactly the wrong direction. You get to the top one step at a time. There is no fast way to success. It's not there. It's hard, faithful, disciplined, repetitive, boring work. You look at yourself in the mirror. Gosh, I started my diet yesterday. I don't look any different. I'm discouraged. So I start crawling again. Now, what do? You stay away from the chips. You don't eat that bowl of ice cream. You cut down on the drinking. Whatever you got to do. You walk an extra 15 minutes. Do something. You have to be a master of your own life. Master diet. Master yourself. Master your own health. Master your profession. That's when you're going to start making the money. If you're not willing to put in the work to master your profession, then you're living someone else's dream. The lure of instant success leaves us hopeful but empty-handed. Oh, it'll all be okay. I heard Christian say this the other day. God's going to take care of everything. I said, well, you got to put the work in. No, God's going to take care of me. I said, He put you on earth to work. That's the first thing He told Adam to do. Work. You're going to sweat, buddy. Nothing's easy. You got to work hard. And you got to stay faithful and keep advancing, keep changing, keep morphing into who you really want to be. Don't care about what everybody else thinks. And you'll find when you really have a big goal and you're really ready to change your life, that the people who are closest to you, there'll be one or two of them that'll try to pull you back. Because it reminds them that they're not reaching their goals either. Ever heard the term misery loves company? Keep showing up in your own life. It takes time to master an art, a sport, a profession. It'll take time for you to master your life. Quote, better to see something once than to hear about it 1,000 times. It's an Asian proverb. When we think we're living by living vicariously through people or movies or books, it's all good. But when you put your feet in that sand, when you touch that clear water, when you see that snow-capped peak, when you see the color of the trees in the East Coast in the fall, you see, you fill in the blank, the flocks of birds, the certain animals, Yellowstone Park, Old Faithful, when you see it, when you smell it, when you experience it, it's something. Experience your own life. Why would the Apostle Paul, about 20 years after he painstakingly transformed himself from a murderous hunter of Christians to changing the entire world and teaching it a new level of truth, why would he write the following? Romans 7. We're going to read 17 through 20 from the Message. But I need something more. For if I know the law, but still can't keep it, and if the power of sin keeps sin within me, keeps sabotaging my best intentions, I obviously need help. I realize that I don't have what it takes. I can will it, but I can't do it. I decide to do good, but I don't really do it. I decide not to do bad, and then I do it anyway. My decisions, such as they are, don't result in actions. Something has gone wrong deep within me and gets the better of me every time. This is one of the greatest people that ever walked the earth saying this, because he's a human. Everybody goes through the same thing. Successful people beat that. Paul sounds a lot like the rest of us. He understands how hard it is to stay changed. Anybody can do a diet. Anybody can drop 20 pounds. You see, given time, with any diet works. I don't care which one you do. You see? But then to make a lifestyle of that change, that's the hard part. That's the hard part. And if we keep going, if we keep doing the yo-yo, we keep gaining weight, losing weight, it's because we haven't gotten down to the root problem. There's a reason that we're doing that stuff. And there's a reason we're going to have to quit doing it or change. You see, like so many of us, he starts something and then reverts back to his old behavior. He wants to change, but he doesn't follow through. And it's all in the follow through. It's all in the getting up, letting go of the coffee table and taking a few steps, falling down, getting back up, taking a few more steps, falling down, getting up, taking 5 steps, falling down, getting up 10 steps. Next thing you know, you're running. And everybody's running after you. See, for Paul to incrementally change from being a hater of anything Christ touched to being the man who taught us how to reach full spiritual maturity through Christ was an amazing transformation. He willed himself to do that. Remember, he was Pharisee of the Pharisees? He was the most religious person in Israel. And then he changed on the road to Damascus. Whole nother teaching, but it's fantastic stuff. He changed even more than Peter was willing to. So much so that by Acts 15, you never read about Peter again. Never mentioned in the Bible. Isn't that crazy? It's because Paul just kept changing, kept doing what God wanted to do, kept morphing, kept trying to better himself, better other people. And as he moved at whatever lightning pace he was moving at, he learned more and more and more. And he wrote more and more and helped more and more people who probably in turn helped him. Ephesians 4:14 and 15 from the Voice. Then we will no longer be like children, tossed around here and there upon ocean waves, picked up by every gust of religious teaching spoken by liars or swindlers or deceivers. Instead, by truth spoken by love, where we grow in every way into Him, the Anointed One, the Head. You can grow right into Christ. It's something. He isn't something that's just 2,000 years ago. He's not sitting behind some big old desk next to God. He's busy. He's doing something. See, we choose to grow and we choose not to grow. It's easy to grow and it's easy not to grow. It's your choice. It's easy to crawl and it's easy to walk. I find it easier to walk now than to crawl because it hurts my knees. Changing is easy, but not changing is even easier. That's the course of the world. That's why only 5% of people reach their goals. Everybody sets goals, but people don't stick with it. Better health, more money, whatever it is, you fill in the blank. Why do 95% of the people fail? It's because they don't stick to it. The people you love to read about are people who don't care what other people think, and they stuck to it. How popular was Lincoln when he did the Emancipation Proclamation? Probably not a real popular guy. See? How popular was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? When he organized these marches and tried to do these peaceful rallies. Not popular. So unpopular, well, both of those guys got shot. So Gandhi, he tried to integrate, he wanted the Christians, the Muslims, and the Hindus to get along. They killed him for it. You see, but those are people that are quoted all the time, right? They're quoted all the time. They're in every history book. Why? Because they went against the flow. They didn't care what the masses thought. They had an idea, they had a goal, they had a vision, they had a dream, and they headed toward that. See, changing is easy, but not changing is even easier. We have to know ourselves in order to enjoy the journey. If you don't know yourself, you can't stay changed. You can change, but you won't stay changed. If you're trying to live somebody else's ideal, you won't stay changed because you don't believe in it. Know thyself. The ancient Greeks had a saying, know thyself. And it was chiseled on a stone block on the Temple of Apollo at Delphi about 400 BC. Remember the Oracle of Delphi? It was etched in there, hundreds of years. And for good reason, those two words, know thyself, have appeared in almost every culture, every continent, and every religion. Know thyself. Know thyself. We have to know ourselves or we can't change. We can try to, but we got to get to the root. Those two words, know thyself, are the crux of solving one's own problems. Because as we objectively take notice of our problems, then we're going to see our solution. And this is how God designed the human, to see the problem, find the answer. But it takes moving. It takes letting go of the coffee table and taking a few steps. And sometimes it's scary when you let go of something that seems very safe. You see people who are miserable in their jobs. You go into some stores or post office or somewhere like that, and they're like, next. Go to the DMV. You see miserable workers. They're not happy to wait on you unless it's their first day. Because there's no incentive. There's no advancement. You get a raise when they tell you get a raise. They've given up their dreams to somebody else. Now, some people work better. They need to go to work for somebody. I'm not saying if you work at the post office it's bad. My mom did. And, so I get it, But I'm just saying, as an example, you see those people. You see people miserable in their jobs. Why are you doing it? If you hate, imagine spending 30 years in something you hate. To me, that's insanity. That's worse than insanity. Know thyself. It's a crux of solving our own problems. find the problem, find the solution. Quote, the first thing you have to know is yourself. A man who knows himself can step outside himself and watch his own reaction like an observer. Adam Smith from The Money Game. I mean, if you could look at me and go, gosh, if this guy would just do this and this and this, he'd really be a success in that business. But I can't see it. We can always see it in other people, but we got to see it in ourselves. We have to observe ourselves. Okay, why am I not dropping weight? Why am I not making any money? I end up in the same spot every year. Why do I keep going deeper and deeper into debt? Why do I keep sabotaging my relationships over and over? Well, folks, there's a reason. It's right in front of us, but we just wish not to see it. It's right there. You probably can hear it coming out of your mouth because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. In 1750, Benjamin Franklin observed in his Poor Richard's Almanac the difficulty of actually knowing oneself. And he said, quote, there are 3 things extremely hard: steal, a diamond, and to know oneself. Quote, he who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened. Lao Tzu. He who knows, that's Chinese culture, Lao Tzu. It's about 400 years, about the same time that they were carving that thing into the, where the Oracle of Delphi sat, over the little steam vent. You see, I recently heard somebody stand up in front of a group and put his hands on his hips and proudly declare that it takes 21 days to build a habit. And he said it with the authority that comes from repeating a well-known statistic. And the crowd all nodded and gave its approval because they were also sage ones. So it must be true. 21 days. And I've heard this 21-day thing since I was a child. It's not that easy for most of us. If it were that easy, if you could totally change your life in 21 days, don't you think this world would be a different place? Would there be so many diets on the market and so many get-rich books? Would there? No. Think about it. If you had all the wisdom of the world at your fingertips and you could totally change in 21 days, would your life be better? See, all the self-help knowledge in the world is at your fingertips, on the web, in libraries, on your bookshelf. Yet with all that knowledge, we still have trouble losing weight and keeping it off, maintaining relationships, staying healthy, or increasing our finances. You have all the knowledge, but it doesn't help us. Why? It's because we don't faithfully stick with it. Like Woody Allen said, 80% of it is showing up. 80% of success is just showing up. Show up every day, every day, every day, every day. Try to better yourself every day. Figure it out. Know yourself. Why am I not dropping that weight? Why am I going broke? Why am I keep ruining my relationships? Well, look at yourself. Know yourself and you'll have your answer. Don't wait for somebody else to slap you across the face. See? Success is not in the knowing, it's in the doing. Success is not in the knowing, it's in the doing. If it was in the knowing, then we'd all be great. Especially if you could do it in 21 days. Maybe somebody can change something in 21 days. See, I recently heard another speaker say, if 5 frogs were on a lily pad and one decided to jump, how many frogs remain on that lily pad? 5. Because the one only decided to jump. He didn't jump. Making a decision doesn't mean anything, folks. It doesn't mean anything. It's success is in the doing and doing again and doing the next day and not eating that cookie and not eating those chips and not eating that bowl of ice cream and not talking yourself out of doing that walk even though it's drizzling outside. It's just you don't quit until you get what you want. Show up. Just show up to your own life. Stop waiting for it to happen. Stop expecting God to magically make you have a great life. It doesn't work that way. Why does He tell us we have to renew our minds? We put that new image in our mind because we have to. It's always new. Every day it's new. Every day it's new. Every day it's new. We improve every single day. Success is in the doing. Romans 12, 1 and 2 from the Message. So here's what I want you to do. God helping you. Take your everyday, ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work, and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering. Embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for Him. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you, develops well-formed maturity in you. See, we humans acquire habits for a reason, and God set us up that way. We're designed to be habitual creatures, but it's both a blessing and a curse. If it's a good habit, it's a blessing. If it's a bad habit, it's a curse. A habit will usually be our strength and our weakness, so we have to know ourselves. Quote, "No one is free who has not obtained the empire of himself. No man is free who cannot command himself." Pythagoras. No one is free who has not obtained the empire of himself. Be the master of you. Master yourself. You mastered walking when you were 1 year old or before. You mastered the art of talking. Most of us. You see? I mean, be a master of every part of your life. You know, Philippa Lally, a psychology researcher of the University of College London, published an article on the habits in the European Journal of Social Psychology. And she had a test group of 96 people to help her once and for all determine how long it takes to form a habit. Because people say 17 days, 21 days, 50 days, 1 year, all these for sure things so they can sell a book. But she goes, once and for all, I'm going to figure out exactly what it takes. So these 96 people worked with her. And they could choose the daily habit they wanted to take on. It was just one. Could be drinking more water every day. Or it could be exercising 15 or 30 minutes a day. Whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, but you're going to improve your life. It was a positive habit. And they wrote down each day if they actually did the task and if it felt automatic. And her study showed that it took people different time periods to form a habit. And for some, in as little as 18 days, but others took as long as 254 days to change habits. And the average amongst her test group was 66 days, not 21. It could take almost a year. And all the business books I'm reading lately, they say really to get great at your business, it's going to take 3 to 5 years. I mean, to really get great at it, it's going to take 3 to 5 years. And if you think about that 10,000 hour rule that somebody did, that's about 4 years of working full time. That's a college education. You know, so So they wrote it down, and when it became automatic, then that's the day that they stopped having to write it down because they didn't have to anymore. But it's also in here, if you notice, it was a review. And sometimes instead of writing down your goals, it's better to write down what you did that day towards your goal. You know, I did it, or I had a hard time today. If you kept a journal, if you really wanted to change, I cheated today. You know? Well, then it's embarrassing. Then you got to look at yourself. It's like, dang it. And if every day, you cheat, okay, well, why am I cheating? I better take a closer look at myself. So writing stuff down at the end of the day and reviewing it is actually a very good practice. It's a very, very good. Remember I talked about see it, plan it, do it, review it? You see, it's a great practice. So, you see, we've each acquired certain habits because of some deep-seated need or greed or fear. You know, we say that we want to lose weight, yet we still eat the ice cream and chips while watching TV. You see, we still want those couple of drinks while enjoying that fireside chat with our lover. You see, knowing that you just drank 2 cups of sugar, you know. See, we're never going to be able to faithfully stay faithful to our goal of losing weight if we keep eating or drinking more calories than we burn. You can't expect to ever gain wealth if you spend more than you earn. It's craziness. But you get these plastic cards that say you can. You can just keep buying. Keep buying. Someday the cows come home on that one. You see? You know, we all know it, but we still want to do it. And that's the hard part. The 5% people who are successes is they've learned to control what they do. They control their time. I was reading something this week. They said most millionaires watch less than 1 hour of TV a day. And they say they'd rather be educated than entertained. Now, most Americans watch 3 hours of TV a day. It's pretty average, 3 hours. It's a lot of time. Well, okay, if you don't watch TV, how much time do you spend wasting time on your social media and on the internet? I mean, what's the difference? People don't watch TV now, they stream it live on their smartphones. You know, I mean, it's like you hardly see anybody's eyes anymore when they're walking around. I just heard that somebody saying on the news that I think is it London or England, they're gonna put stoplights in the sidewalks because people don't ever put their head up and they're walking right into traffic. You know, now I don't know if that's true or not. I just heard it, but the point, I mean, it's craziness. If you owned a multi-million-dollar racehorse, multi-million-dollar, and it was a winner, would you let it stay up late, eat chips, and drink whiskey?
No.
Would you let it eat whatever it wanted to eat? You know, certainly not. Why? Because it's a valuable racehorse. Well, how much value do you place on yourselves? Oh, but I really want that. I had a bad day. I really need fill in the blank. We've all been there. That's why they call it comfort food. I was at a restaurant yesterday. They said they have the American comfort, Italian comfort, you know, French comfort. And it's just stuff that makes you fat. You know, I mean, it's good tasting stuff. But you wouldn't, if you had a hot rod, you know, you had a fuel dragster, you wouldn't put gasoline in there, you know, 81 octane. You know, you put the highest octane, whatever, you know, jet fuel, whatever those things use, you know. I mean, you're putting something in there. You're putting what it needs. Well, take care of yourself. What do you need? What value have you placed on your life? And if we keep trashing our lives, what about the way you talk to yourself? Think that has an impact? You're going, oh, what a fool. God, I can't believe it. Oh, my God. I'm such an idiot. You're slapping yourself upside the head. Just think what we do to ourselves. You had a multi-million-dollar racehorse. You're not going to slap it upside the head. You might give it more training. Maybe we need to give ourselves more training. Okay, I'm not dropping weight. What am I doing wrong? I got to train myself out of this. I'm not healthy. I need to train myself out of this. I'm broke. I'm in debt. I've got to train myself out of this. I'm a multi-million-dollar racehorse. Whatever you fill in the blank. AA fuel dragster. Something. You see, the reason so many Americans fail at their weight loss goals is not as much a lack of willpower, but a lack of understanding themselves. Why do I keep eating and drinking all that fattening stuff when I know better? Isn't that what Paul said earlier? I know what I should do, but I don't do it. The things I don't want to do, I'm still doing it. It works in anything in life. It's a human dilemma. That's the course of the world. Is it hard to retrain? You ever heard the term, you can't teach an old dog new tricks? You can. I watched that dog whispering guy. He said, you can train any dog. He said, you can train any dog. I didn't think you could. I thought dogs could be ruined, if they were abused before. You can train any dog. The key is, if you can answer the question, why do I keep doing this? That's when you're going to begin achieving your goals. What's the root cause of why I stay in debt or can't get a good job or can't lose weight? There's a reason. I can train myself out of that. You see, work on your problems, on your problem spot every day. Work on that problem spot every day. And you're going to get somewhere. If every day it's okay, this is going to be the greatest day of my life. I'm going to prosper today. I'm going to be better health today. You do something to better yourself every day, and you're going to get somewhere. If you fail, what did the baby do? Got back up, right? When it fell, it got back up. Let go of that coffee table again and start walking again. Walk again, fall, walk again, fall, walk again, walk, run. Now you've mastered the art of walking. Let's master us. Quote, it's all part of my journey. I've done a lot of stupid things, but you learn by your mistakes. Ozzy Osbourne. Now, people think that guy sounds, like he's blown his brains out, with whatever, but my God, the guy's a millionaire, he did something right. Maybe he just married well. I don't know. Quote, I am larger, better than I thought. I did not know I held so much goodness. It all seems beautiful to me. Whoever denies me, it shall not trouble me. Whoever accepts me, he or she shall be blessed and shall bless me. Walt Whitman from The Leaves of Grass. I didn't know I held so much goodness. And what a great attitude. What a great attitude. Let's take command of our own selves. We can do. We are complete. Philippians 4:13 from the AMP says, I am ready for anything and equal to anything through him who infuses me with inner strength and confident peace. I'm equal. I'm ready for anything. I'm equal to anything. But it's not just having the Spirit of God. You have to have that knowledge. You have to want it. God doesn't make us be little robots for Jesus. To fully complete and enjoy our journey, we must be honest enough to first know ourselves in body, soul, and spirit. And then work every day to change what we've decided we need to change. That's how you enjoy the journey, folks. And finally, before we take our last breath, I once had a client who owned a lovely, cozy coffee shop, and his wife and 2 grown daughters worked with him. And when I watched them, they seemed immensely happy. They loved working together, the 4 of them. And I asked him, I became friends with this guy, and I asked him, what he did before he became a master barista. And he said, well, I was an attorney and CEO over a large corporation in Seattle. I made huge amounts of money until my 3rd heart attack. And then he didn't say any more. He didn't finish that sentence. But he didn't need to say any more. He knew he had to change something if he was going to stay alive. I offer you that same thing. You have to change something if you want to grow. You have to change something if you really want to live. He changed us to stay alive. But we want to live. I've talked to so many of you. You have all these great goals. Let's make them happen. Let's do them now. Work on something. One of the first things Paul ever wrote and distributed to the newly formed Christians was written first to the Thessalonian believers. And he gave them pointers on how to live out the rest of their lives. And what I'm going to do is, it starts off in 1 Corinthians chapter 5, and I'll read verse 1 through 3 from the Message. And he says, I don't think, friends, that I need to deal with the question of when this is all going to happen. You know as well as I that the day of the Master's coming can't be posted on our calendars. He won't call ahead and make an appointment any more than a burglar would. About the time everybody's walking around complacently, congratulating each other, we've sure got it made. Now we can take it easy. Suddenly everything will fall apart. It's going to come as suddenly and inescapably as birth pangs to a pregnant woman. That baby doesn't send you a memo. When it's ready to come, it comes. And then he goes through 14 or 15 things, of which I'm going to read them to you in King James speak here. But these are, after talking about the hope of the return, and this is one of the first things ever written to the believers. And then he gives them, here's like an assignment, here's a to-do list. If you can do this, you're going to have a great journey, and you're going to enjoy your eternity as well. And so warn them that are unruly. Comfort the feeble-minded. Support the weak. Be patient toward all. See that none render evil for evil. Ever follow that which is good, both among yourselves and to all. Rejoice evermore. Pray without ceasing. In everything give thanks. Quench not the spirit. Despise not prophesying. Prove all things. Hold fast to that which is good, and abstain from all appearance of evil. It's a pretty good to-do list. We do this until we reach our last breath, and then we'll have a fulfilled life. And we will at that point have enjoyed our journey. Quote, if you can't live longer, live deeper. Italian proverb. If you can't live longer, live deeper. Live every day to the best. Don't rue the day. And if it didn't turn out the way that you wanted, then figure out that evening, what can I do better tomorrow so I don't have to repeat this stuff? A baby does it. Quote, as with any journey, who you travel with can be more important than your destination. Who you hang around makes a huge difference in who you become. I just read recently in a book that your wealth will typically be the average of the 5 people you hang around with. Your 5 best friends. And so you might want to consider, if you're just not getting ahead, or if all your friends are super overweight, well, it's hard to get out of that. It's harder. quote, 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bow lines. Sail away from the safe harbor. Catch the trade winds in your sails. Explore, dream, discover. Mark Twain. Quote, I don't know where I'm going from here, but I promise it won't be boring. David Bowie. I don't know where I'm going from here, but I promise it won't be boring. And I promise you, after your last breath, the next thing you're going to notice is a face of Jesus Christ and the people who love you. It's going to be the greatest day of your life, the start of eternity for you. And we're each on a journey through life, on our own special assignment to be the best us we possibly can be and to help others find their stride as well. Our journey starts with our birth and ends with our last breath, but what lies between are the moments that should take our breaths away. So, enjoy the journey. God bless.